Hello and welcome. I'm Walter, the Bearded Hooker, and today we are going to do the half double crochet puff stitch square as part of our sampler Afghan, and this is the 7th square in the series. I have put all the videos in a playlist so that you'll be able to see them. The first two videos have a demonstration of how we do the border. This square is a 1 row repeat, which is very nice. And we start with a chain 27. It is a multiple of 2 plus 1. So with that said, I have done the slip knot and started. So now we're going to chain 27. And then we are going to make a puff stitch in the 5th chain from the hook, and the puff stitch is as follows. So we're gonna count to our 5th chain from the hook. Remember, we never count the loop, so 1 2 3 4 5. We're gonna yarn over, insert the hook into that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then we're gonna yarn over, go back to the same stitch, pull up a loop, and then we have 2 4 5 loops on the hook, and we're going to do that one more time. Now we have a total of 7 loops on the hook, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 7. I find it much easier that when you yarn over, if you keep the point of the hook facing down and that you run the back of the hook here along the top of the loops so it doesn't catch. Of course it's going to catch. Sometimes you have to play with it a little to get through all 7 loops. There. And that's our puff stitch. Then we're going to chain 1. We're going to skip the next chain, which is here, and then we're going to puff stitch again. So the puff stitch was yarn over, go through the stitch indicated, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through that same stitch, pull up a loop, and do that one more time. Yarn over, pull up a loop. And then we're going to pull through all 3. All 7, I mean. Chain 1 to close or stabilize the puff stitch. Skip the next stitch, yarn over, go through the loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the stitch, and pull up a loop. Now I have 7 loops, and we want to pull through all 7. Chain 1 to close, skip the next stitch, and do the puff stitch. And once you get a rhythm of doing this, it'll go by quickly. And one of the things that I like about the sampler Afghan is that it does have the squares themselves have texture on them, which is nice, I think, because it's not all just a flat, two-dimensional blanket. And then I'm gonna do like a really wide border as well after all 30 squares are completed. My yarn is just tangled. Just to pick up, I'm starting the next puff stitch, and I did the initial yarn over into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. So yarn over, go back to that same stitch. That's 2. This is the 3rd. Pull through all 7 loops, chain 1, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go in the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, go in the same stitch, pull up a loop, and through all 7, skip the next chain, chain 1, Remember, and make sure you remember to do that chain one, because it's easy to forget. But that does help to stabilize it, and then when we do the next round, it'll also help with that. If that made sense, but I don't think it did. Okay, chain one, and then in our last chain we do the yarn over, insert hook into the chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and that's our 7 loops. And then pull it through, chain one, and you should have 12 puff stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And then the last row we mark as the right side. The last row. The first row is the right side because there is no last row. This is the last. I guess this is the first and last row since it's the only one we've done. Then we're gonna. So for the last puff stitch, instead of chaining 1, we're gonna chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Turn, and then our first puff stitch is going to go here between these two, and then we have a total of 12 puff stitches in each row, and that is what we're going to do. So this is a 1 row repeat, so we are going to just be repeating row 2, which we're going to just about to start, until you have the 7 inches for the square. Okay, so it's yarn over, insert hook into the chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, 7 loops on the hook, pull through all 7, chain 1. So we're just going to do that across. And again, it's in the chain 1 space in between each of your puff stitches. This is a really, I think, nice stitch that if you wanted to upsize it to make like a prayer shawl or a rectangular shaped shawl, because it would give you, enough warmth while having a really great texture. So that is 11 puff stitches, and our 12th puff stitch is going to go into the top of the turning chain, which is here. And then as we do it, it's going to, see how these puff stitches are kind of angled towards the right, and then these are kind of angled towards the left, and then you're going to get that back and forth. So visually it's going to give a movement, and then physically it has this really great soft texture to it, which, the lumpy. I don't know that lumpy is ever considered a good adjective, but it's lumpy and feels nice. So in the top of the chain, which is the 3, the 3rd chain, so yarn over, yarn over, yarn over, and then we're going to do the chain 3 on the end, 2, 3, turn, and then we just do the same process again to the other side. And I'll finish up this row. I should say I'm going to start and finish this row. And it helps if, when you go to pull it through, if you, of course it didn't work that time, if you keep like a medium amount of tension, so there's no like loose loops for the hook to get caught on as you're pulling it through. If you had some of those like long variegated yarns that they have now, like long color changes, this would be, I think, an interesting stitch to do a scarf in. And then in our last, here's our turning chain, and we want to do our last half double crochet puff stitch in here. And so that's the third row. And as you can see, when you're going, every other row is gonna kind of angle towards the same side. So it goes this to the right, and then these will go to the left. These go to the left, and this goes to the right. So what I will do is I will finish this square and come back. Thank you. Hello and welcome back. Here is the finished square. Again, this is the half double crochet puff stitch square. And as you can see, every other row either goes to the left or to the right, and that's just the nature of the crochet. I did use the I or 5.5 millimeter hook to do the border. And again, that's the same border we have been doing. It's 3 double crochets in the corner, 25 evenly spaced, 3 double crochets, and you repeat that around for round 1. And then round 2 is 3 double crochets in the middle. I'm saying double crochets, but it's single crochets. So it's 3 single crochets in the corner, single crochets, 25 single crochets spaced out, 3 single crochets in the corner, repeat that around, and then you will do 3 single crochets in the middle single crochet here. I use the stitch markers, and then it's 27, 3 single crochets in the next corner stitch, and then 27, and you repeat that around. This is a block, so it's 8 by 8, and that concludes the half double crochet puff stitch. I want to thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions or comments, please include those in the comment section below. If you like this, please like and subscribe, and share with anybody who you think would enjoy this series of blocks. Thanks, have a great day, and remember, always keep hooking.